Good morning to you. My name is Tony. This is Social Commentary. Today's date is July 21st, 2010, coming to you from the great state of Texas. I would also like to tell you that this is my very first video for YouTube, so if I screw things up, I apologize ahead of time. I've never done any public speaking before, but I guess a lot of us are finding that we're doing firsts for the first time in our lives these days, and this is mine. So once again, I apologize ahead of time. Thanks for listening to this, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again in the future. I came across a website this morning called Vision Victory that's on YouTube. Quite a good site run by a young man who was quite knowledgeable about his facts, discussing the state of our nation, and I praise young people that have an interest in our nation and wanting to make it a better place to live, especially for them, as the coming years will belong to them. And they make this a land that they can be proud of. But his topic today was about unemployment, which is what I would like to discuss for the next couple of minutes. As a lot of unemployed people found out last night, Congress finally garnered its 60th vote to pass the unemployment extension bill, or unemployment emergency compensation bill, that now sits on the floor of the Senate. I believe that's expected to readily pass and move on forward to President Obama for his signature to place that into law. Exactly what does that mean? Well, for the nearly 2.5 million Americans that are currently unemployed, it means that they will once again be able to start paying for the basics in life. And what I mean by basics are rent, mortgages, food, and utility bills, which is about all unemployment really will take care of. There's not a lot left over after that. I am one of those 2.5 million Americans. I am 54 years old and found myself unemployed on October 31st of 2009. I remember very, very well that morning when my boss contacted me and told me that my career had been impacted. Those are words that I will never forget. I had no idea or plans on ever being unemployed. I had figured I would finish out my career with Verizon Business, whom I worked for, and retire and basically enjoy the things that I had planned on doing after I got to that point in my life. Well, it was cut short, like many Americans who found their jobs cut short. Unemployment benefits are just enough to help us stay alive. And it really bothers me when a great deal of Americans, who I would like to refer to as the haves, and those are the folks that have a job and have a career, put down us folks such as the have-nots who don't have careers and don't have jobs. You look at it as this is something we chose. Well, you could be further from the truth on this one. I don't believe there's an unemployed American out there, truly, that wishes this happened to him. I know I'm being somewhat cynical about it, but I don't think anybody wishes to be unemployed, especially myself. I certainly didn't count on it, not at my age. And at 54 years of age, it's quite difficult to find a job, and I'm sure I can find a lot of older folks out there that'll agree with me, but that's a topic for another day. So you folks that have jobs, that have careers, and look down upon the folks that don't, you need to be very, very careful, because you could be just like us tomorrow, for that matter. There's not an American out there, in my opinion, that's safe right now from possible unemployment. It can happen that quickly. With the way companies are getting rid of employees and so on, everybody has an opportunity, if you want to use those words, to be unemployed. So be very, very careful. Be very, very careful of how you think about us, because we are not sitting at home on couches watching television or perusing the internet or doing nothing all day long, as so many haves think that we are. As a matter of fact, the young man on Vision Victory stated that when people get on unemployment and they first start out on their 26 weeks or 22 weeks or whatever the case may be, they search for a job for approximately 20 minutes a day, if that. As they come further along in their unemployment and get down to the point where it's beginning to end, that time goes up to 70 minutes a day. I don't know if these are figures that can reliably be looked at, I, from my own point of view, can tell you that from day one, I started searching, sending out resumes, and of the hundreds of resumes that I have sent out, of the hundreds of applications that I have filled out looking for work, I can tell you that I spend a lot more than 20 to 70 minutes a day. As a matter of fact, looking for work can be a full-time job that you can spend easily 8 hours a day at. But I am digressing somewhat from my point of view. What I'm trying to say is that it's very easy to look down on us. But remember, we were just like you some months ago when we were employed. So until you've walked a mile in our shoes, you folks that have jobs, be very, very careful. I'm sure none of us would wish on you the same thing that's happened to us. But just remember, it can happen that quickly. My hat's off to Harry Reid for pushing this issue with the Senate and staying with it. I know a lot of people think he's not the very best senator. I have no comment on that as of right now. Harry Reid was on my doorstep twice in Nevada. I lived there for 15 years when he was campaigning, and I got a chance to talk to the man. I neither have anything good or bad to say as far as some of the other things he's done as senator, but on this particular topic that he pushed through and stayed with, I give him kudos and hats off. To other senators like Orrin Hatch, who wanted to drug test all of us before we could get our unemployment test, I would like to find out if Orrin Hatch is on crack or something else, because I cannot believe that he would even make a comment such as that, as ridiculous as that. To think that the small amount of money that we get paid on a weekly basis, which in my case is $400, and then taxes are taken out a week, that I have enough money to buy illicit drugs and so on and so forth, while providing for my wife and my 2 dogs that live here in my family. Other folks have wives and kids. So once again, it's probably the most ridiculous statement that I ever heard a senator make. But Orrin, if you're watching this, here's my drug of choice, coffee, and I don't mind. If you want to drug test me once a week, go for it. If you've got the time and the extra cost for that one, go ahead. So anyway, you Americans out there, remember in November, I like that, remember in November, the senators that kept this from happening, and there's at least 40 of them out there that did not want to give you unemployment benefits, that did not want to see you survive. Remember when it comes time to voting, to remember those names. And on future episodes, shows, or whatever you might want to call this, I will try to get a list of those names and we can remember together. Don't vote for somebody that made you suffer. And that's exactly what happened. And for you Americans out there that have those jobs, yes, we did. A lot of us suffered. I came this close to being homeless for the very first time in my 28 years of working. Believe me, I'm not opposed to it. And I know a lot of other Americans that are unemployed right now, and they're not opposed to working either. Sorry, I'm harping on that, but I'm very passionate in my feelings in regards to the way that we're looked at, that we're looked down on, that we're bilking and milking the system. Well, yes, maybe there are some out there that will take advantage of it, but I believe the percentages are very small. This same discussion can be brought up about welfare, but we'll save that for another time as well. In the meantime, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your life to look at this video. If you have comments, by all means, please share them with me. I'd love to hear what you have to say, good or bad. I'm not opposed to bad press, so to speak. And hopefully in the future we can have other discussions. I have no problems discussing politics, religion, sex, or anything else for that matter. And I hope to be able to have similar videos like this as we go forward on social topics. So, Americans and the rest of you folks around the country, have a pleasant day. Thank you again for watching. If you have comments, please post them. And I look forward to the next time that I can speak with you. Once again, my name is Tony. This is Social Commentary. Have a fine day.